I know it's Tuesday. This is gonna be a quick live. Did you ever do that workout you promised me? No, I owe you a workout. I do. Hey, Mariah. Yeah, it's cold. Testing, testing. Safer. Damn, TikTok updated their interface and everything's smaller. Hard for me to see chat. Thank you, Leax. What's up, everybody? I'm amazed you ain't talking about Trump. Do you want me to? I was technically here first, but it was on YouTube. What's up, Hector? So, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is like, these are really good early results. Because I was under the impression that if Mamdani was going to win, it was through second and third choice votes. But if he's already leading in first choice votes, then this might be a done deal. But I can look at some analysis. When is the final count, or are the results tomorrow? So it says ranked choice tallies expected next Tuesday. 30-60% of the first choice. So I'm gonna do a quick recap of how ranked choice voting works. Basically, when you rank them 1 through 5, right, and then they count the first choice ballots, and if nobody breaks the top 50%, they eliminate the lowest what's it called? The lowest vote getter, and they go to the second choice ballot, right? And those get counted, and they keep going until somebody breaks 50%. It's gonna take a while. There are a bunch of candidates. There are a bunch of candidates. That's very true. When did Mamdani enter the political field? These past weeks are the first I've ever heard of him. I'm pretty sure he's like an assemblyman in New York. So like if you're not from New York, you probably never heard of him. Same with me. I didn't hear of him until I started seeing the clips on TikTok. Like from that debate, the New York City mayor debate was wild. He's been a New York State assemblyman. Okay. Thank you everybody for the heart maze. Not me sitting here in Oregon waiting eagerly on the NYC mayor results. For me, it's kind of like sports. Okay, a cat just jumped in my lap. Then. Extremely important. The mayor will have to fight with Trump no matter what. Yeah. Your satire video. That wasn't satire. That was 5D chess. I literally want Donald Trump to see that video. I'm telling you, if we can get Trump's ego working for us, we can get some shit done. He's really gonna let Israel disrespect him like that? I say pull all funding from Israel and sanction them. Hey, Aaron. You have a socialist leading the biggest city in the country would be amazing. Is he a full-on socialist, or is he like Bernie? A Dan on a Tuesday? Yeah, surprise, huh? Cautiously optimistic. 6D chess. Hey, Kiefer. By the way, great live last night. Thank you. Wait, who we asking about? Kiefer says hi. Kiefer says hi. He's a Democratic Socialist, I think. Okay. He said, "What a surprise! Staten Island is an outlier as always. Staten Island is pretty conservative, right? So, like, not surprising that they would lean more towards Cuomo. He's a pragmatic progressive socialist looking out for the people instead of the billionaires." Okay, well, that kind of sounds like me. I like that. I used to call myself a pragmatic progressive. Y'all, this will be historic if he wins. Yeah, it really will. I mean, and to be fair, AOC beating Joe Crowley, the number 3 ranking Democrat,
That's a damn lie.
Thank you, Rome. Number 3 ranked Democrat in all of the House, was historic back in 2018. But this really would be huge. And I think outside of the fact that it's an establishment guy that's backed by all this money and backed by Israel and all this stuff versus a progressive that's backed by small dollar donations and all that. It's also, we need to, as Democrats, I think we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard. Cuomo resigned in disgrace for sexually harassing 11 women. How was he leading this race? I just don't understand. What are we doing? Let's refresh. An estimated 81.3% of votes have been counted. Okay, so as a reminder, these are the first choice votes. And because no candidate's going to be over 50%, it is going to go to a second round of counting. Is it likely Mamdani wins at this point? Oh, you know what? Let's check the betting markets. Hold on. Okay, so before the race ended, before the polls closed. Wait a second. Wait. Hold on. Okay, now don't get me wrong. This doesn't mean he won. But before the polls closed, it was at like 50-50, right? 5 p.m. Can I get closer? Okay. What is this by? This is a week. The option to go to a day. Oh, I have to actually go to the contract. 1 second. Okay, yeah. So if we do 1 day, 3 hours, perfect. Okay, so this was, it had Mamdani at 42%, 58%, polls close, 9:03, 45 to 53, and then boo. He is now at a 98% chance, according to the betting sites. Okay, this isn't the polls, but I understand why they would be like that. Because, like I said, if he was going to win, I thought he was going to win based on second and third choice, but he's already leading with first choice. I think it might be over. I think it's going to get called. Let's see what the news is saying. I guess CNN doesn't care. Mamdani is going to push for Sharia law after like 2 years. Okay. IV Axe 26. I will bet you my $10,000 to your $100 that doesn't happen. My 10,000 to your 100. Can we take that bet? Deal? Okay. Re of Axe, pick a third-party person to hold your 100 and to hold my 10K. Personally, I nominate Hector, but whoever you want, third party, and then in 2 years, I will gladly accept your $100. Isn't Sharia law the same as Christian nationalists are demanding, except with Christian religion? Yes, exactly. That's why it's so silly for them to say that. Islamophobia final boss. That works. I nominate Joe. Clever. Almost got me. Yeah, he is cooking in Brooklyn. Ranked choice would happen July 1st. Yeah, so the thing is, if we look at the polls, again, obviously polls aren't always accurate, but most of the people that were supporting Cuomo were supporting him on the first ballot. And so if he's not even leading on the first ballot, I don't know how he can win the election. I like to ask bigots what they think of Allah and then watch them curse their own God. Well, they'll claim that it's not the same God. Okay. Wow, there's a lot of Mamdani haters in chat. Hold on, let's talk to these people. Hi, Gina. So you are pulling for this deranged communist to win? Sack flies. Can you explain what you mean by deranged? And also explain what you mean by communist? Are you guys good? Wait, I just realized something, chat. When he wins, if he wins, and when he wins, Donald Trump is going to scapegoat socialist New York leading into the midterms. Fuck. This is it. That's his midterm campaign. His midterm campaign is going to be, we have to stop communism. It's already taken New York. We have to stop it. That's his midterm campaign. No. Communism is when no iPhone. Oh God. Yeah. I'm checking other betting markets. They all have Mamdani at 98%, 99%. Have you heard about the Dem running for governor in Texas? No, I haven't. Socialist has taken over a lot of major cities. Generic person, what socialists are you referring to? We can agree to say Trump is beta because alphas don't need to lie. True. I like that. Your favorite Poppy. It will never happen. The establishment won't let him win even. Bro. The establishment did its thing. There's nothing left to do unless you think they're actually going to change the votes. They have no problem funding other countries' communism, though. Are you a socialist? I mean, I think I'm a social democrat. Kind of like the Nordic countries, Sweden and stuff like that. Any chance you'll run for House, Senate, Mayor, Dan? I've thought about it. Is this one in the bag or what? I'm not going to say 100%, but I don't see how Cuomo wins if he's already losing on the first ballot, because most of his support is first ballot support. The polls that we looked at had Cuomo like below 5% on the third, fourth, and fifth ballot. Please run, Unc. I'm in Florida. We need blue. Is this return of the first ballot only? Yes, this is the first ballot only. We're not going to know the second ballot until next week, I think. Most of those Lander voters are going to Mamdani. When will the final call be? But if Mamdani gets 50% plus one in the first ballot, it's over, right? Yes, but I don't think he's going to. Based on to make up 8% with only 15% of the votes left, I don't think it's possible mathematically. How old do you have to be called Unk? Asking for myself. Obama. I don't know. I'm about to be 35, so. Nolan, thank you for the hand heart. Is this official? This is official. This is the polls coming in. The ballots coming in. The first choice votes. Who do you want to win this? Mamdani. Why are people voting for Brad Lander when he is basically endorsed Zoran? I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you, as I don't live in New York. I haven't really looked into any candidates besides Cuomo and Mamdani, so I'm not really sure. Republicans crying about mayor in New York makes me happy. Bro, epic. If Mamdani wins, they're going to be shitting and pissing all over the place. They're going to be so upset. A socialist took over the biggest city in the country. It's over. We're going to have to invade New York. I can tell you why, Lander. I wanted Mark Kingdon to win, but Zoran isn't bad. They vote for Lander because ranked choice voting allows them to show their support without wasting. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Listen, you can... Ranked choice voting is really cool because it gives you the ability to vote like your conscience, quote unquote, vote for your favorite candidate and not waste your vote. So, for example, if we had ranked choice voting in 2016, I think is the best example because I fucking hate Jill Stein. But like in 2016, if ranked choice voting existed, Bernie could have ran as an independent, and then people could have voted for Bernie on first ballot and then voted for Hillary on second ballot, and not thrown away their vote. The reason he didn't run as an independent because he didn't want to break, the votes or whatever. But in 2024, if you really wanted to, you could have put Jill Stein on your first and then put Kamala on your second, and that way you don't, waste everything. But you say, "Oh, I voted my conscience," blah blah blah. Leftism is absolutely destructive. It destroys everything it touches. Brainwashing is a real thing. Back flies. Why are you guys always so vague? Can you give an example of what leftism has destroyed? Oh no, children get free breakfast in school. When will it be announced? Likely next week. But if Mamdani wins on the first ballot, I really just don't think Cuomo has a way to win. Can we comfortably say Mamdani is winning at this point? I mean, here's the thing. The people that are betting on it have it at a 98 to 99% chance. And that's money, right? So destroyed our education system for one. Sack flies. Who was it that defunded the Department of Education? Oh wait, who was it? They are so scared of children having free lunch. No, for real. It's almost like Republicans are historically worse in the most categories, but right, it's the left. No, Republicans are worse in pretty much everything. I can't think of something Republicans are better for. He will destroy New York City. Wait, but no, hold on. Republicans already say New York City's destroyed, right? All the hotels are filled with the illegal immigrants, and New York City's already destroyed. So how can he destroy it more? So were you lying before or are you lying now? That's why they took out the Black Panthers for providing free breakfast and lunch for school kids. Republican states are the dumbest states, and all the conservative spokespeople never went to college. He'll put the nail in the New York coffin. What's he going to do? Sack flies, what's he going to do? Tell me what he's going to do. Be specific. Time to leave New York City if he wins. Bye! presidential election made me concerned that things can flip at the very last second. That's fair. That's not really what happened though in the presidential election. That was like a slow bleed into Trump winning. He will destroy NYC. Trust me, he will never be mayors. Trust, guys. Do you want to trust Jim K? No profile picture, who provided zero evidence for anything he said? Are we trusting him? Mamdani is the progressive we need. Yes, I agree. How's my dude Mamdani doing? He is currently in the lead on the first ballot. Of course, Staten Island voted for Cuomo. Bro, we should just eat Staten Island into the ocean. Where you live so I can take your apartment when you leave New York. Oh, God. Zoran seems like he has good intentions, but price control has a hint history of backfiring. Is he for price? What's the policy on price control? I live in New York and I am geeked right now. Let me look up. Actually, I'll just look up his policies on my. Okay, inside the campaign of Zoran Mamdani, the Democratic Socialist running for mayor of New York City. What are his policy proposals? Mamdani wants to freeze the rent for nearly 1 million New Yorkers living in rent-stabilized apartments and provide free city bus service, universal healthcare, and city-subsidized grocery stores. Okay. You don't even know his policies, yet you are pulling for him. Listen. I know that the guy he's running against resigned in disgrace because he sexually harassed 11 people. I also know that the interviews I've seen of him, where he talks about universal health care, where he talks about rent control, are policies that I would appreciate. I'm sorry that me, who lives in Florida, doesn't know all of his policies. Cuomo is worthless too. Oh no, sack flies. I get that, because if you're saying a socialist is going to destroy New York, that means you're a Republican anyway. So you shouldn't even be watching this. Take your eyes off of this. This has nothing to do with you. Because no Democrat's saying that bullshit. That's some Republican MAGA rectum inserting stuff right there. I am extremely disappointed in Kana. After Jeff Jackson, I thought he was the last good one. Our president somehow got elected with concepts of a plan. Please be serious. With ranked choice, Brad Lander voters might get Mamdani to 50%. Most importantly, he will focus on New York, not on Israel. Yes, that was another big thing. So there was a interview question, or not an interview question, a debate question, talked about like how much you'll support Israel, which is a weird question for the mayor of New York. And then it's like, oh, I love Israel, I love Israel, I love Israel. And then it gets to Mamdani, and he's like, I love New York. I'm not planning on visiting Israel. He won't say Israel should exist as a Jewish state. Hello? Yeah, Israel shouldn't exist as an ethno-state. Is that, wait, do we think it should? Are we pro-ethno-state? The Dems have gone so far extreme left, Bill Clinton looks like a conservative. Sackflies, why do you not just use one specific, once? What have the Dems done to you to make you say that? All the AIPAC money and Cuomo still couldn't win. And also, he literally did say that. Yes, I really liked his answer. No, I agree. That's what Mamdani said. Yeah, I really liked his answer. He said, I believe Israel has the right to exist, but they don't have the right to exist as an ethno-state. They don't have the right to continue to expand into Palestine. He gave a really good answer. How are we looking? I can't read the text. Wait, is the text too small, guys? I'm sorry. He gave such a good answer, they interrupted him. Another Sharia law example with a different religion. I don't know what that's referring to. Dan, were you raised in New York? I was raised like 12 miles outside of New York. I was raised in North Jersey. Dan, did you see Mondani talking with Colbert? No, but you know what? We could just play that now. Oh, wait, that's me. Look who came up on my recommended. I don't want the extended one. Regular one.
Everybody give it for Louis Cato and the Late Show Band. Happy summer. There you go. Ah, yes. Ah, yes. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, my friends and neighbors, folks, coming up in just a few moments, we have superstar Cynthia Erivo is going to be out here. Got the new
I clicked the wrong link, chat. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And as I said, you're the comptroller of the city. What is that?
Fair enough. Everything is under control.
Comptroller, yeah. Well, what do you do?
The Chief Financial Officer in New York City.
Okay.
Manage the $275 billion pension fund that is the retirement security of teachers and cops and firefighters.
All right, so you're the money guy for the city.
The money guy for the city of New York.
You're the money guy.
Yes.
And wait a second, you're the money guy, and he's a democratic socialist. You're a socialist endorsing the money guy, and the money guy's endorsing the socialist guy. Why, does socialism not scare you? Because socialism scares a lot of people.
I mean, look, I am a proud progressive, and I think that's in the tradition of New York City. I mean, this is an incredible city, generates so much creativity and energy and wealth, and the job of city government and of the money guy is to invest in the public goods that keep that thriving going and then share opportunities so much better. And that's what our schools are and our parks are and our libraries are. That's what we're paying for with all those dollars, and that's the city we love.
I think what Brad has also shown by being the money guy is holding people accountable. Right? One of the main reasons that we know that Elon Musk took $80 million out of the city budget was because that was something that Brad discovered. And I think that...
And we're going to get it back, so every penny.
And at the core of this is about actual accountability, because what we have is a federal administration in Washington that is authoritarian in its actions and its vision, and we deserve leadership here in New York City that is actually an alternative to it, not something that looks like a mirror image of it.
Well, I want to talk about... that. I want to get back to what happened down at the court. So it is expressing its power, an authoritarian. We've only got a minute here, and I've got to get to a couple other things here. New York is a big old town, okay? It's old. It's not necessarily machine politics like the Chicago that I used to live in, but there are a lot of bodies buried, you know?
Still a lot of machine politics here.
Okay, and one of the things that people say that they'll vote for Cuomo is like, he knows where the bodies are buried. He knows how things are done. Mr. Mamdani, you're 33 years old. You know, a fresh face is very good. New ideas are very good, but why should the city trust someone with so little governmental, especially executive experience, to run the greatest city on earth?
No, I think it's a moment for New Yorkers to ask themselves what kind of experience we want. Because what we see in Andrew Cuomo is the experience of resigning in disgrace, the experience of cutting Medicaid, of cutting hundreds of millions of dollars in funding for the MTA, of hounding the more than the dozen women who courageously stepped forward to credibly accuse him of sexual harassment. The experience that I offer is one that I'm very proud of. You know, as Brad was saying earlier, I think of the experience of Richard Chow, a taxi driver who lost his brother to suicide. Someone who had been sold a dream by the city as a ticket to the middle class. I organized alongside Richard and thousands of working class taxi drivers, won $500 million in debt relief that brought so many of these drivers back in the dignity that they'd been denied. And alongside that, won the single largest infusion of money for the MTA's operating service in better subways, better bus service, the first of its kind fare-free bus pilot, a track record of fighting for working class New Yorkers. And ultimately in this moment, we can also see a glimpse of how we would run the city in the campaigns that we're running.
Well, for both of you gentlemen, what's your relationship with like unions, with police? Those are the things that run the city. What's your relationship with the police?
Well, look, that's my job as controller. I invest their pension funds, and I'm happy to say last year their pension funds were up 10%. I work closely with representatives, even as we invest in more affordable housing and show how you could run the city well.
All right, how about you? What's your relationship like with the police?
It's a relationship where when I've had conversations with rank and file officers who've told me that they joined the police force to tackle serious crimes, I've heard their frustrations that they've instead been asked to play almost every single role that city government can imagine. The same people who thought they were signing up to deal with shootings are instead playing the roles of mental health professionals and social workers. And ultimately, it's part of why we see 200 officers leave the department every single month, with about a quarter considering doing so, because we're not letting them do their actual jobs. And that's part of our vision. Let the police do the critical work that they do towards creating public safety. Let's create a Department of Community Safety to have dedicated teams of mental health outreach workers and social workers in our subways responding to homelessness and the mental health crisis.
Well, one of the things, and I know we're going a little long here. People, like, there's an old saw that says, just, make sure the potholes are filled, okay? It's what's going on in everyone's neighborhood. People in New York are distraught because the city's dirty.
Moped
There's
chaos.
rats everywhere. There's moped chaos is not the top thing on my list, but also crime, crime. What can you do? Quality of life. A lot of empty storefronts around the city. How do you increase as mayor, what do you do to restore the city to a sense of vitality?
Well, first you need a well-run city government to deliver the services, to pick up the garbage, to keep the streets clean and safe, to run the schools well. So first, you got to sweep out all the corruption that Eric Adams has brought in, because we don't have right now top-flight people running every city agency. But think about what it could be as an answer to Donald Trump when the next mayor says, I want the best and brightest here, running that transportation department, running the sanitation department, and making sure we keep the streets clean, safe, the neighborhoods well-run. I'm glad Eric Adams finally decided it was time to start putting the lids on the trash cans. That's a big step forward for
Do you keep the rat czar?
We will have a rat czar.
Okay. How do you revitalize the city? How do you keep it clean and safe?
I think as someone who cares deeply about public goods and the public sector, we have to care just as much about public excellence. We have to deliver the best quality of life in this city. And as Brad is saying, so much of that concern that many New Yorkers have is tied to a systematic underfunding of city agencies. We're talking about a mayor that we're both seeking to replace, who at one point was proposing removing trash cans from some New York City street corners. And that's part of what makes people feel as if they're living in a city that is dirtier, that is less well run than the one that they know.
Do we have money for that?
We do.
Do we have money for that?
Well, look, my #1 pledge in this campaign. All right. I'm glad you asked.
Yes.
My #1 pledge in this campaign is to end street homelessness for people with serious mental illness. We don't have to be a city that has a couple thousand of our mentally ill neighbors. You know what's expensive? Our hospitals and jail will actually save money even as we make our cities.
So I was under the impression that Eric Adams was planning on running as an independent. If both him and if both Eric Adams and Cuomo run as an independent, they might literally give this election to Republicans before they allow Mamdani to win. That's so fucking wild. What was the last 2021? Maybe not. Hold on one second. That was my mom. But anyway, So I don't know. I was saying that Eric Adams and Cuomo running as independents could give this to Republicans, but maybe not. 67% to 27%. 66% to 27%. Yeah, no, I think we'll be okay. We can bleed some we can bleed some centrist votes. Yeah, Black Bear. It's like this. It's not like New York City's a tight. I thought it would be something closer to like 55, maybe 58, 67. Nah, they're not. Ain't no one voting for Adams anymore. Yeah, no. Like I'm pretty comfortable in saying that if Mamdani wins this on the first ballot, he's gonna win this race. Like who has Cuomo on their second and third ballot? Not that many people. Like Cuomo's more of a first or last on your ballot kind of guy. If green card holders are voting in New York City, there's going to be a surprise ending. Can green card voters vote in New York City? Cuomo is speaking now. Where is he speaking?
Tonight is his night. He deserved it. He won. And we're going to take a look. We'll make some decisions. But I love each and every one of you, and I thank you.
That sounds like a concession.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. I just answered. Thank you.
This has been breaking news.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me here. Let's spend some time talking about what's going on with the heat. It was in place yesterday, in place again today. It will be in place again tomorrow. Looks like this is going to be our first heat wave of the season. All the areas shaded in pink, excessive heat warnings. Could be feeling like 100 to 110.
Okay, we got it, buddy. Everyone take a celebratory blinker. Let's go. Wait, did they call it? I mean, obviously, if Cuomo conceded, then... None of the networks have called it yet. The network's funded by Israel. Go to Spectrum News New York. Not really showing me anything. He isn't the mayor yet, LOL. Well, yeah, I know, but Republicans get like what, 27% of the vote? All right, what do you want? Well, hello?
So, why would you want a socialist mayor?
democratic socialist. So like policies similar to Bernie Sanders. That's a good thing because it makes it so that the working class and the middle class are supported more than the top 1% that don't need the support.
Bernie's lost his mind.
That's a great sentence that you have there. Has words and a period and everything. But
I know, right?
what do you mean by lost his mind? Policies were all
He used
pretty
to be good when he was running for president, and then he got scared of the Hillary threatened his life, so then he ran away. And then Hillary became the top candidate. Oh, there you go, the tinfoil hat.
So you said he used to be good. His policies have not changed. So you agree. You're pro democratic socialist policies. Thanks for agreeing.
No, I'm saying he used to be good.
Right.
He
He used to be
better
good.
policies.
Policies have not changed. Nothing has
Yes,
changed.
they have.
Oh, what's the difference?
Now he takes bribes. Now he's completely sold. He's completely sold himself out.
Those policies are the same. Okay, so he used to be good. I appreciate that you admitted you were able to come up here and admit that you agree with democratic socialist policies because you said he was good, but you don't like him now. But his policies are the same, so you agree. Democratic socialist policies are good. Thanks for coming up.
They weren't socialist.
Hi, welcome up.
Hey, man, thanks. Yeah, it didn't work
You
out
think
too
you
well.
just fell out of a coconut tree?
Thank you, Olivia. Say again, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it didn't work out too well with Chicago and Mayor Johnson. Be careful what you wish for New York.
Chicago and Mayor Johnson.
He's exactly like the guy running in New York City.
When was this?
It's the current mayor, Chicago's current mayor.
What's wrong with this guy?
He succeeded Lightfoot.
What's wrong with this guy?
He's got a 14% approval rating nationwide or citywide.
I don't know where you're getting that number.
What number do you have?
I just Googled it and none of them are 14%. It has it by demographic.
What number do you have?
40. Oh, I see it from February. I see where you got 14%. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson's approval is down to 14%, the lowest in Chicago mayor history. Of the 798 registered voters polled from January 21st to 23rd. For reference, the approval rating of the U.S. Congress is 17%. There hasn't been a good mayoral approval rating since 2020.
It's not that long ago. Yeah, Lori Lightfoot had a horrible approval rating, but it was better than this guy.
Okay, so are you
Yeah, I'm
saying
just saying this guy's a Democratic. He's running on the same type of platform, and it's been horrible for Chicago. So what I'm saying is,
what has he done in Chicago?
Nothing. That's the problem.
Nothing.
He's done zero.
Okay, so does that mean that he was unable to implement the policies?
He can't implement policies, and situations are much worse than when he took over.
Okay, so why can he not implement policies?
Because he doesn't know what he's doing.
Okay, so vagaries. Okay, so I have to do research to see what the. Okay, give me a second. Give me a second. I thought you'd be able to use your words, but CTU, Chicago Teachers Union.
What do you do for a living, by the way?
I sell Pokemon cards.
No, you don't. You sell comic books?
Pokemon cards.
Which ones do you sell? What's the highest value one you've sold?
His close alignment with CTU has been.
Let's talk Pokemon for a second. What's the highest value card you sold?
Bro, I don't know, man.
Do you auction it? Do you auction them, or do you just sell them private sales?
Is this an interview? What's happening?
I'm curious. I'm curious what money you make. What do you do?
Why are you curious how much money I make?
I'm just curious. I like to know who I'm talking to. I want to get to know you. So what do you do? Do you sell Pokemon cards, or do you have a real job?
No, I sell Pokemon cards.
All right. So tell me, which one was the last one that you sold, and how much did you sell it for, and how did you sell it?
Are you being serious? Like
Very serious. Yeah, no, serious.
you don't see how like weird that question is?
No, I have a Detective Comics 27. I'm into collectibles. I understand.
Okay, I don't. If you think I'm selling like graded $1,000 cards or whatever, that's not what I do. I sell a bunch of small cards.
Oh, so you don't make a living doing that? So you lied.
Wait, are you under the impression that you can't sell $5 cards and make a living?
Yeah, I wouldn't think that's impossible. Tell me how that works. That would be awesome.
Okay, so you take the number 5 and you multiply it by 1,000. That's $5,000.
Where did you get your Pokemon cards? Where did you get that many Pokemon cards?
Why do you fucking care, bro? What is your job? Man. Can I read this article for a second?
I work for an NBA franchise, but I'm curious
which NBA franchise?
I don't want to say.
Oh, why don't you want to say?
We weren't in the playoffs. Let me put it that way.
Oh, okay.
You can narrow it down after that.
What do you do for them?
I'm curious though. So
what do you do for them? You work for the franchise. What are you, the janitor? What do you do for them?
Where did you get 5,000?
What do you do for them?
Cards?
What do you do for them?
5,000 Pokemon cards.
What do you do for them?
Where'd you get 5,000 Pokemon cards?
Multiple different distributors. What do you do for the NBA?
How long did it take you to get all those cards?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm asking you a question. How long did it take you to get all those cards?
1 minute.
And then you didn't keep you 1 minute, so you don't do that. Why do you lie? Why are you a liar? You're a liar.
So what is it? Do you not believe that I sell Pokemon cards for a living?
You told me you sell Pokemon cards for a living, and I'm interested in it. So I'm trying to find it. You said you have 5,000. You said that you have thousands of Pokemon, or that you sell $5 Pokemon cards. You don't sell expensive Pokemon cards.
The price
but I'm
is
trying
range.
to find out
is range. I don't know if you've ever been to a store. Have you ever been to a store? Wait, I'm sorry. Have you ever been to a store?
Where can I buy some of your Pokemon cards?
Online?
Where? eBay? Tell me where.
I don't want you to fucking hunt me down. So
I don't want to hunt you down. I want to buy some of your shit.
I don't want your money. I really don't want your money. Actually,
why not? That's what you do for a living.
Your money's not good here.
Why not? I want to buy some Pokemon cards. So where do you sell them?
The reason I don't want you to buy my money, buy my cards, is because based on the way you've been speaking, you are an unhinged individual, and I don't feel safe.
Right. Okay. Well, can you tell me a little bit about the Pokemon card business, at least?
Once you tell me what you do for the NBA team that you work for.
I'm an orthopedic surgeon for an NBA franchise.
You are not an orthopedic surgeon.
Okay, I'm not then.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about.
I don't sell Pokemon cards. Is Dan a scalper? No, I don't deal in sealed, or not anymore anyway.
Are they sealed cards or what?
Most of them are singles. No.
No, that's cool. Well, how'd you get into Pokemon? Which ones did you keep?
Ones that I keep?
Yeah. For your own personal collection.
Which ones did I keep?
Yeah, did you keep multiples? Do you have a personal collection, or do you just sell everything?
What? Why are you so interested in me? I have a girlfriend. I'm set. I don't need anyone else to be interested in making these questions.
Is she hot?
That's a weird thing to ask.
Is she hot or no?
You know that's a weird thing to ask, right?
Is it weird? Can I see a picture of her? Oh. Is she hot though?
Hold on. I will answer your question.
Thank you.
If you just type something in chat. I don't care what it is.
Anything?
Anything.
Okay.
Edley. Did you type something?
Yeah.
Okay, don't type a slur. Type something that's not going to get filtered.
Nothing got filtered. I just typed it.
I don't see it.
I typed, is your girlfriend hot?
Well, it got filtered by TikTok. Just type hi or something.
I just saw it.
Oh, you can see it because it didn't get filtered.
There, see it?
There we go. I see it. Cool. Eat shit. Just made it easier to block him. Fucking weirdos.
All right, yeah, get him the hell out of here, will you, please?
Hey, what's up?
Well, you know, Dan, I don't know why you thought you can keep all that fineness to yourself. It's Pride Month. He's trying to get him a piece. He was scoping you out. How much money you make? What do you do? Those are first date questions.
He was interested. He was very interested.
Sure was. Sure was. Got to see if she wants to share. No, but seriously, I came up here because I saw your background. I didn't know if you were trolling them yet or we actually had the results in. He won?
Well, I mean, Cuomo conceded.
Oh.
The networks haven't called it or anything like that, but Cuomo conceded, and if you look at the thing is based on the results, right? He's leading in the first ballot, and the only way Cuomo was winning was by being ahead on the first ballot, because second, third, fourth are all going to be better for Mamdani. If you look at the betting sites, I mean, look, the moment the polls closed, look at this, 99% at this point. So, yeah. So technically, it's not called, but I mean, people are putting their money on it, so it's over.
I was just about to contact some people about placing bets. I'm excited, dude. This is actually what we need. All the progressives that we've been talking about, the people that we want to see on the presidential stage, it starts here, y'all. So this is a huge deal. Huge deal. W to Zoran. Two other things. One, I saw that guy up here. Y'all know what to do when he appears up. Ask him where my money is. And two,
wait, what's the guy's name?
It's unloaded now.
Unload. Oh, that's the guy. Yes. Okay.
That's the guy.
I will ask him next time.
Yeah. God bless. And I forgot what the other thing was already. Damn it. I'll get back to you on that. Any case, you can drop me down.
Thank you so much.
W progressives, y'all.
W.
Also, get up to 100K. What are y'all doing?
But why is everyone saying clickbait, bro? Wait, I'll walk it through. He's not the mayor. This was the primary. Yes, I understand. I will walk you guys through it really quick. So the past 4 New York City elections, I've had the Democrat win 67% of the vote, to the Republican winning like 25%. Okay? So if he has a 99% chance of winning the primary right now and a 99% chance of winning the general, what the fuck do you think is going to happen? Anyway. All right, Hector. Love you.
Tap the screen or you're a bigot.
He has not conceded. Only he will probably. He did. We just watched him concede. We watched the video of it. Here, look. I'll go back. There he is.
Let's give him a round of applause.
We'll break down what all the heat warnings.
A highly impactful campaign. I called him. I congratulated him. I applaud him sincerely for his effort. And let's give him a round of applause and thank him for his campaign. Now, I want to look at all the numbers as they come in and this ranked choice voting and what the numbers actually say and do. There is no doubt that there are important issues that are facing this city. That's why this election is so imperative. That's why so many people came out to vote, because these are real issues, and they're not getting.
Isn't Cuomo going to run as an independent now? Based on the concession speech, it sounds like he's thinking about whether he will. He said he would. If he does, it's unlikely that it'll sway the election for the Republicans. It would be like a trash thing for him to do, of course. Watch the DNC spend money for Zoran to lose. Classic DNC. Okay. Mamdani wants to freeze the rent for nearly 1 million New Yorkers living in rent-stabilized apartments and provide free city bus service, universal childcare, and city-subsidized grocery stores. So I am 100% down with free city bus service, 100% down with universal childcare. I would have to see the I would have to see like a more detailed plan on the other two. Universal pre-K is so huge. Yeah. Massive. Wait, LaGuardia was a socialist? Yeah, Mookie, he did. Also wants to tax those making over $1 million a year. Ooh, we should have started with that. Ooh. Ah. Who won? I'm just joining. Technically, it's not over, but the odds are that Mamdani has won. Here, I'll pull up everything. So this is where we're at right now. With 90%, 90.6% of the vote in, Mamdani is leading on the first ballot by a pretty decent margin. Mamdani is also Cuomo's chance to win was going to be on the first ballot, so that's why we have betting markets showing Mamdani at 99%. So yeah, I mean technically it's not called, but on.
Yeah, Cuomo wasn't gonna win. After he resigned as governor, he forced resigned as governor. He knew New York wasn't gonna vote for him. I don't know why he tried. Like, if anybody's from New York, they know the horrible job he did up here. He was horrible. I'm hoping we do get this other guy in though, because he sounds like he might just be the move we need in the Democratic Party.
100%. Young, he has progressive ideas. Not in the pocket of Israel, like pretty much everybody else that was running. So
yeah, but only New Yorker knew Cuomo wasn't gonna win. The only answer he had for doing anything was putting more police on the street. Which, if you're from New York, that never solved anything. That never solved anything.
It's actually arguable that the rhetoric about how dangerous New York is what cost us the House in 2022, when everyone was expecting the red wave or whatever, and it turned out to be basically a wash, mostly because of the overturn of Roe v. Wade and all the women that showed up to vote. The only two states that did experience a red wave were Florida and New York, and there were like 4 or 5 House seats that went red, probably because of Eric Adams's rhetoric about how dangerous New York is and how we need more police. And that's essentially 2 years of a Democratic presidency that could have been more functional if not for Eric Adams. Like that, and if Cuomo was going to do the same kind of stuff, these dinos basically Democrats in name only. In New York? No, but I have so many friends from New York because I used to live in North Jersey. I grew up in North Jersey. Wait, let me see box here.
Yeah, people keep saying New York. Oh, New York dangerous. New York dangerous. If you actually look at the stats from per capita to just about, let's say, Texas, we have less violence here. But for some reason, people keep thinking it. But yeah, that's pretty much what lost us it. And then I didn't vote for Mayor Adams, so I'm glad that he's out. Like I can't wait.
Yeah, if you look at the like top 20 most dangerous cities, New York's not amongst them. You got Memphis, St. Louis, these red states.
But that's the racist dog whistle that they was taught. Chicago, New York. Chicago, New York.
Yeah.
Which, if you actually understand per capita and you look at it, you would know that ain't it.
Sample text. Talk about. All right, so sample text is against this policy. They got this. They just updated the TikTok called Studio. So hey, what's up?
Oh, yeah. What's okay? Yeah. Wait, is the other person still talking? I don't want to cut them off.
No, I think we're
Okay. Yeah. Seems like no. Okay. Look. So I'm happy he won for a bunch of reasons. I think his campaign has been fantastic, and that's what we need in the Democratic Party. They need a wake up call. We need to be on social media. We need a campaign like that. So just even if he did all the policies that I disagree with and I think are bad, like it's just a net positive for the National Democrats. They're gonna learn about this, so that's really I'm excited about that. Just a heads up, if I were to be in New York City and vote, I would rank him probably number 2, be below Lander, but okay, not Cuomo. Okay, just that being said, the policies are, in my opinion, bad, and I'm an econ nerd, so I don't know. Maybe we can talk about that, but whatever. I'm not a democratic socialist, but yeah, I don't want to ruin the fun. I'm happy. Yeah. So, for example, like rent control, almost all the literature shows like this is just bad policy. It's not good. The way we solve the housing crisis is by building more housing, and so Brandon Johnson was mentioned earlier by this weirdo guy, whatever. But like, still, he was mentioned. He's a classic example of how like the solution for housing is market rate housing. It's not just this focus on subsidizing everything. For example, he declared that they're investing, if I recall correctly, it was like $11 billion to build 1,000 new units. That's $1 million a unit more, right? So that's just like insane. Why is it so expensive to build, right? And if you read Ezra Klein, he talks about that, and he goes into the reasons. A lot of it is just because it's really hard to build. Zoning laws are really hurting development. And other reasons are, well, it's not progressive to say, but it's like unions have like contracts that increase costs a lot, and I've not seen Zoran push against that. In fact, he did the opposite, and so that's really disappointing. It's gonna likely not like the housing crisis is still going to be in New York by the end of his term, and I'm upset about that. He did like I can yap for whatever, but like another policy I disagree with is
New York
free buses.
doesn't have,
Go
but New York doesn't have a housing crisis like people keep saying. I don't know if you've ever been to New York, but we literally building on top of everything up here. Like literally, any vacant lots, old school, not schools, green streets, what they call them. Like we're literally building on top of everything up here. There's not a housing
Also,
crisis really. It's the prices that are going up. So
yeah.
The housing up here, a lot of the people that build the buildings, they get grants when they have a certain amount of low income housing, but it's not really low. And if you make a certain amount, they still be denying you. Like it's a tricky situation when it comes to this stuff. It's not that we don't have the apartments, we have them. It's just tricky to them, and it's only a certain amount that you can literally get in. Like let's say if it's a building of 25 apartments, they have to, I believe it's about 10% that they have to have. That's low income. So what, about 5 people, 5 apartments, give or take. And then you got to wait for the next building most likely. Or it's a waiting list for all of this stuff. It's not really a housing crisis like people think. It's not.
Okay, so that's not my impression. I've talked to friends in New York. Some of them voted Cuomo. They're coping about that. That's fun, but whatever.
Cuomo's did cause a housing crisis up here when he was
No
governor.
doubt. I said I would have voted
Yeah.
Mamdani, and he indicated some things I liked. In an interviews, he did say that he changed his mind on the role of private development in housing, but I've just not seen him push the policies when he gets to actually talk about what he'll do. But I disagree that it's not because of building more housing. Take for example, the vacancy rate is pretty low. That's indicative of like a lack of supply. Usually, when you have a lot of supply, you'd have a higher vacancy rate. Another example, this is one of my favorite stats: 40% of the buildings in Manhattan today would be illegal to build if you followed existing like land use regulations, whether they're too tall or they have too many apartments or too many businesses.
Yes,
40%.
it has a height limit in Manhattan, but Manhattan
That's
is
insane,
different
right?
than. No, it's not because you can build up to a certain layer, but then with a certain height, but then you can also buy the person next to you. You can buy their thing if they're not built up to their height. You can actually buy their thing and build on top of theirs, and it be your building
Okay,
that
but there should
connects
not be
over
height
to it.
limits. I mean, maybe like 20 stores or whatever, but like height limits are bad because they limit the amount of apartments you build, and then you have less supply of housing. That means higher prices. You can look at cities in
Not
Texas and Florida. The rents are more falling there because they build a lot more. It's not just red cities, but or red states, but whatever.
it's the reason we don't have a really like I was saying. People choose not to move to the places like the Bronx, Staten Island, and Nassau County really. So these places have a lot of vacant apartments. People are choosing to stay in places like Brooklyn, local Queens, or Manhattan because you can actually get to every borough. Well, Brooklyn alone, you can get to literally every borough because we have every highway right here. So that's the reason that it seems like it's congested because people choose not to move to Staten Island. People choose not to move to Long Island. People choose not to move to the Bronx. The Bronx don't have a bunch of elevators. That's one reason people don't like to move to the Bronx. Most of their buildings don't have elevators.
I just wanted to pop in, and Naquan, you can correct me if I'm wrong about this, but from what I've heard Donnie say about rent control is that he wants to freeze the rent for the rent stabilized apartments in New York, not that
Yeah,
he's
that's good.
going to freeze the rent for every single apartment across the city, right? So
Certainly
these are,
true.
this
Yeah.
is, what'd you say?
Yeah,
No, go ahead.
I believe it's the rent controlled ones because you got to remember, New York took a long time to recover from the pandemic. Like New York got hit hard. I don't know if people know that, but New York actually got hit very hard. So it took a long time to recover. So a lot of people are still out of work.
So I want to push back on the idea that his idea for freezing the rent won't be effective because it's price fixing for the city, but he's not doing this for every single apartment in the city, right? He's just doing this for the apartments that are already rent stabilized, if I understand his policy correctly.
That's yeah. It's on his website. You can read. It's for rent stabilized units. I agree. I didn't imply. I don't think he's going to do citywide rent control. He never said he would. I don't think he would. Nonetheless, still the bad effects. Like it's going to be smaller because the implementation is smaller, but it's still going to have the bad effects. It's like drinking a lot of poison versus a little bit of poison, just a little bit.
So what would your answer be? Just less building code regulations so that they can build more? Like, what's the
Yeah, a
solution?
lot of studies indicate that. Yeah, I mean, just allow more building of housing, make it a lot easier to build.
I don't
That's
think
one thing.
I don't think you understand like how old New York really is. I do home renovations. Like I literally have my own
Okay.
businesses.
Yeah.
New York is old. It's
Yeah.
old. Unless
I've
we
been
tear
there. Yeah.
down every building in New York and start from ground up, most of these buildings you can't build on top of. That's another reason they have that height limit because you can't sit there and try to force new material like steel and all this on top of an existing building, and then that building cannot hold it completely. Like we're an island. I don't think y'all understand that.
I
We're an island. We're surrounded by water
Big
on
water.
all four corners.
a lot of water. Yeah, I've
Like
been to New York. I'm aware.
like we're old. I don't. If 2 years ago, I don't know if you realized, like in the Bronx, there was a lot of buildings collapsing out of the blue. That's how old we are in New York. Like we're that old.
Like being old does not. Like, I'm not saying build on top of existing homes, but or existing buildings. Like I don't.
But
How
then
much
that,
time have
that
you spent in New York itself?
Well, probably less than a month of just like in there with friends, but
Yeah. So again, that would have tightened.
My understanding of policies is just based on economics. It's not necessarily like the economics. The rules of economics apply whether it's in New York, or it's like California.
But
And I've
you
had
said
this
let's remove
debate
regulation. You said
with
let's remove
people.
regulations and allow them to build on top of a building. This is why I'm telling you, like, our buildings in New York are old. If you knock down certain basements in New York, you can still find old train tracks. You can still find the old hiding spots from slave time. Like we're literally that old in New York.
Hey, Dan, thanks for bringing me up. I just want to talk about that because I heard him mention Ezra Klein. So did you read his book? You're referencing his work on abundance theory. That's what you're referencing.
That's right.
So I mean, that would only work in theory. The problem with the abundance thing is, so you want less regulation for people to build more housing, but what happens with that without any kind of regulation is that it just gets bought up by real estate developers, and there's still just because you build more housing doesn't mean it's gonna. You're arguing that because there's more housing available that the price that the market will organically lower the cost because there's because of the demand, right? That's what you're saying.
Supply.
But that's I mean, we have so I've lived in New York and I'm currently in Pennsylvania, and like here in PA we have built like our housing market has like we've built tons of housing here, and it's still going up because what happens right now is most of these properties, even for single family homes, are being bought by real estate companies. They're not being they control the market. They control the market artificially, basically.
I'm not hearing him. Oh wait, is my phone bugging?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
So without any kind of you're asking for less regulation, which to me is funny because right now, like black companies like BlackRock and all the if right here, I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. If you go try to buy a home right now, and you go to like all the suburbs outside of Pittsburgh, they're not even they're all owned by real estate companies, and they come into an area and they build a bunch of put up quick homes, which is abundance, right? They're coming in, they do land development, they build up sections of housing. All the houses look the same. They're all 3-bedroom, new construction, and then they're selling for. And here's the thing about these real estate companies: they don't care if they sit empty for a while. They're not hurting on that because they're just investments. So that abundance theory it doesn't work like that without the regulation.
And that's the building you talking about, the type of buildings you talking about, it's horrible because they don't have long lifespan. Like the buildings that they are quickly putting up now because of regulations were lowered, they have about 5-year lifespans on them. So it's not good. We need more regulation, and we need them to be built proper for them to last longer.
I would love to respond because it's a 3v1, but okay.
I do think there is an argument to be made that we should create a path for streamlined development for developments that meet certain criteria, whether that's building codes, environmental criteria. Like, we should put more emphasis and more processes in place to make sure that that new builds, that redevelopments have a streamlined process to get through if they meet XYZ set of regulatory criteria. But I think Mondani is the candidate that's capable of handling that. Like, he's part of his platform was talking about creating a council for small businesses and making it easier and more accessible for small businesses to get permits and things like that they need from the city. And so I think that he could apply that very same idea to developments that meet the regulatory needs of New York citizens.
And if I can add something to that, also.
Okay.
Well, I want Sable to get a chance to respond, but
okay, good.
Yeah, so a bunch of claims. I'll try to address them. But so let's address the most important one, in my opinion. It's the idea that building more housing simply doesn't work. It all gets bought out by corporations. So I think that's strictly false. We have a lot of studies on this. We know that it works. We can look at cities that do that. We do know that it works. I'd love to cite one study that I thought was really good. It's called The Effect of New Market Rate Housing Construction on the Low-Income Housing Market. And basically the findings are not surprising at all. It says here, constructing new market rate housing that houses 100 people ultimately leads to 45 to 70 people to move out of below median income neighborhoods, with most of the effect occurring within 3 years. The results suggest that the migration ripple effect, of new housing will affect a wide spectrum of neighborhoods and loosen the low-income housing market. So that's not true. There was also a review of the literature by UCLA, also showed a lot of studies. This is not true. Building market rate housing works. I can cite studies all day. I can link to a bunch of studies actually in your Discord if people want to read them. But I think the evidence is very strongly on the side of building more market rate housing. So that's one thing. Second thing is, I already cited, so look at Manhattan. Also, that study looks at, part of it is on New York City. Okay, so, or just New York, whatever. If you look at Manhattan, again, this is one of my favorite stats because it's just so insane. 40% of the units in Manhattan today would be illegal to build. If you try to build them, they would be illegal because of the existing rules. All right, so if we think this is housing that's worth living in, why are we making it illegal? Right, that doesn't make sense to me. You can look at states like cities like Minneapolis. It's not just red, blue states. The more you build, the more affordable it becomes. Like it's, yeah, okay, whatever.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying that I don't think that Mondani's rent freeze policy is going to prevent building from happening, and I don't think it's necessarily going to be bad for the city overall.
I actually I'm not an expert on New York politics at all or housing policy, but the fact that it's just a rent stabilized apartment and it's just a freeze, to me it sounds like it's just giving New Yorkers a chance to breathe at a time that shit's going up so like rapidly. It's not a permanent thing, and it also gives us time to build more housing if possible wherever it can be. But that's my uneducated take on it.
Have you studied, I just want to ask, have you studied the development in Atlanta called the Villages of Eastlake?
No.
Okay, I really encourage you. I don't want to take over Dan's live and go on a whole tangent about that. But I really encourage you to study Eastlake and mixed income housing and the results of what fair redevelopment plans that incorporate truly equal mixed income housing plans can do for a community. And I did not study Eastlake from an economic perspective. I studied it from a medical perspective, and how that specific redevelopment changed childhood obesity rates and health outcomes for children in the area. But you should really look at the Eastlake Foundation and the insane amount of work that they've been able to do in that part of Atlanta.
Okay, and speaking of corporations, Atlanta, that's one thing I know about Atlanta. It's one of the only cities where it is actually a problem with corporations buy housing. I think it's like a quarter of housing is owned by corporations. That's kind of the only city. Nationwide, less than 3% of all homes are owned by institutional investors. It's me and Dan, I think we talked about this one time. I don't know, it's like 5 months ago or something. Wait, who dropped it? Oh, I'll go on.
Can I ask you a quick question? Because you keep bringing up this height limit in New York. Do you know the percentage of Manhattan that has that? Because it's not the whole Manhattan. It's literally a percentage of Manhattan that stops.
No, it's in different areas. Yeah, of course. It's like it'd be crazy to just have one rule applying to all the borough, but let's see. I'm not aware, but maybe the article talks about that.
And it's not a high percentage. It's just literally a percentage. But this is why I keep saying that we're literally building on top of everything. We're at the point that we're building on top of train junctions. Like literally, we're building over them. They're still active train junctions, but we're building on top of them. We can't build on top of the old buildings. Literally, in order, I think the oldest building in Manhattan that's still up is from the late 1800s, early 1900s. Like we're literally that old.
Yeah,
You
so
can't
I'm
build
looking
on
at the
top of
article. I'm looking at the article I'm citing. It's from the Upshot. If you just Google "Manhattan is illegal to build in Manhattan," I can link it in the Discord if you really want. It doesn't.
I know
I don't think
certain.
it's.
I know the percent. Well, I know that it's limited to a certain percentage because we also got you can't do a certain amount of work in certain parts of Manhattan, but it's not every part of Manhattan. Like I said, I know this because I own a home renovation business, but it's a percentage. It's not the whole Manhattan. We have skyscrapers literally in Manhattan, so it's not the whole Manhattan. It's just certain parts
Again,
of Manhattan.
no disagreement. No disagreement. I was just saying the 40% is not just height limits. It's either they're too tall, or they have too many apartments, or they have too many businesses. That's like what the article was looking over. I'd be fine with moving away from housing, unless you guys want to say more. But like, I think that people should read the studies. I think it's strongly in favor of building more market rate housing. I don't even hate affordable housing. Like, it's just usually that's the only thing people want to talk about when the necessary part is the reform. But okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna be ending the live soon anyway. So if anyone had any final thoughts,
okay. I mean, one of the other policies you said you liked was the free buses. Now, of course, free buses are nice. The problem is when you look at the survey of bus users in New York, what they are complaining about, actually, costs are like lower on the list. And the two biggest complaints were waiting times and overcrowding. And if you make it buses free, you know, you're going to get more crowded. You're going to wait more. So
I can tell you what caused that. When Cuomo was governor, he actually raised the prices and told us that we was going to get better bus service, which didn't happen. He literally told us we were going to get more buses and shorter waiting time, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm not a Cuomo guy.
Yeah, so I think to me, sample text, that just sounds like it needs to be a two-pronged approach. Like, free buses is good because most of the people using buses are of lower income anyway, and so you want to make it easier for people to get to work, whatever it might be. But also more lines to help with overcrowding, and obviously that's going to take money, and that's why. Mamdani has plans on taxing the rich more. I did just read, though, and this is bad news. He's actually unable to do that on his own. He would need that to be confirmed by Governor Hochul to increase taxes on the wealthy.
Yeah, that's another thing. I expect a lot of the stuff he wants to get blocked, which is, I mean, I don't live in New York City, so a lot of this is like an experiment for me. Like, if I'm right and my understanding of economics is correct, I'll get to be confirmed. If I'm wrong and he actually is massively successful, maybe I need to change my mind more. I suspect he's not going to, unless he eases market rate housing, I suspect it's not going to be very good for the housing market. And unless he like makes it more, like maybe like more bus lanes, I expect busing to still, like, again, if it's more people who use buses are poor, which I agree, you would expect that if costs are really their concern, then they would complain about costs in the survey more. But it's not. It's like one of the bottom concerns, and the two biggest ones are the crowding and I've not seen them focus.
I would
on
have
that.
just really quickly, I would have to see the metrics of that survey, because if they're only interviewing people that take the bus, then what are the people that can't afford to take the bus? Or sorry, the subway, whatever.
It's bus users. I don't. Are you saying selection bias? Maybe.
I'd have to see the survey at that point.
I can find a good one. Yeah,
I do have one thing to that is Mamdani making or Mamdani. I hope I'm saying his name right. Mamdani. He has addressed this, and he said that part of the reason why he wants to make buses free is so that the buses will run faster, because it takes up so much time for people to have to pay fares and it slows the buses down. So he is trying to address that issue by removing bus fares so people just on off make things go faster.
Yeah, I've seen him say that, and I've seen a source for that. The problem is that it looked at like the weighting per person and not the weighting overall.
But I
But
can
yeah,
answer your question about why they're not complaining about fares. Because New Yorkers don't pay it. We don't give we don't pay it. When they raised
okay.
it when they raised it the last two times, New Yorkers stopped paying it. Definitely after the pandemic. Like if you look it up, it's a 200 and something dollar fine, and they're literally trying to take people to jail now. You have undercover cops that wait. Like New Yorkers don't pay it. We don't care. We don't care. You told us that the bus time was going to get better when you raised the prices the first time, and it didn't. We stopped paying. You
I
have a
would also
percentage of
like to
people
point
that
out
pay.
that the city of New York spends more money on bus fare enforcement than they actually owe. So like they put out
Oh
more
my
money
god.
trying to enforce bus fares than what it would actually cost
Yeah,
to.
it literally costs more to enforce us to pay it than you would make from us actually paying it.
So there is the point there that it would also take that money away from it would you wouldn't have to spend so much money on the police force trying to enforce bus fares if the buses are free anyways.
Yeah, I've seen something saying I don't know. Sound I was skeptical of that, but like maybe I couldn't find any other source. Something like 50% like of riders avoid paying the fare, but maybe like
Yeah,
I'll
that
need to
might
find
just
it.
be the that might just be the bus because the buses have cameras on them. But if you ever come to New York again, to the train station, they had to hire private security to make sure people are not sneaking through. Like it's literally costing them more to make sure people are paying it than they was make well, people actually paying it.
The last time I got on a New York City public bus with a friend of mine that I go see that lives in New York, when we got on her neighborhood bus, the driver was not enforcing the fares. I literally like went to pay and she was like, "No, this is my neighborhood. He knows me." And it was just whatever.
Hmm. Okay. I mean, I can talk for days about econ, but I think that's enough. I think I've
Sorry for co-opting your live again, Dan.
No, you're good. You're good. I wasn't planning on this being a long live actually, so
I'm surprised to see you live on a Tuesday.
yeah, I was just excited about this election. These are kind of like sports for me. Um the random mayoral elections and Senate elections, special elections, stuff like that, especially when there's a candidate I like. So
yeah, I'm happy he won. Just to be clear, like I'm not. I just think maybe the policies are bad, but like he seems like a guy who's open to change his mind. If shit starts not working, he'll probably change his mind. And also, I mean, just such a good campaign, man. Like such a fantastic campaign. Democrats need to listen. But yeah, okay, that's all from me. Yeah.
Thank you for coming up.
Oh wait, by the way, guys, follow Dan. We need to get to 100K, right? Okay, that's it.
I thought Dan got to
We broke
100K.
100K.
Did you?
Yeah, like a week and a half ago.
That
Okay.
was protest night. That was the 6th because I was coming back from that protest.
Oh yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, well then 200K. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
As always, thanks for having me up, and congrats on the 100K. I did not realize that.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. You're always welcome.
All right, yeah, have a good one.
You too. Have a good night. Falcon, words.
I know systemic reform is less fun to listen to, but please follow Money Out of Politics. I'm going to be in Congress all week this week, starting tomorrow, to do congressional outreach so we can start turning the tide on some of the bullshit happening in our government. And that's not free. Hotels aren't cheap, so and we're all paying out of pocket right now. So if you could go buy some t-shirts on our website, that would be really nice. So we're doing our best. Please follow Money Out of Politics. I'm not eloquent. One day we're gonna have our founder come talk to y'all. He sounds better.
You're doing great. You're doing great. Thank you so much for coming up.
Thank you.
Good night. If Cuomo runs in the general, I'm never voting for a non-socialist Democrat again. If Cuomo runs in the general and gets any Democratic backing, then I agree with you. I fucking agree with you, man. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Can we discuss the Dems voting against impeachment? I didn't even fully read that story. I just glanced at the headline. House Democratic leaders who have been wary of pursuing new impeachments after 2 prior Trump impeachments failed during the first term. They're focusing on the BBB. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this I'm a little bit less like shocked by. It's the impeachment's not going to happen. Period. Right now. So it might be more strategic to wait until there's actually something Republicans would vote for. BBL maybe. Dan, what's the latest with the Iran Israel ceasefire? I'm pretty sure it's just done. It's not a thing anymore. Wait, somebody. Thank you to the person that said don't read this out loud. Thank you so much. Okay. We're gonna do a raid. First of all, if you're here for the first time, thank you so much for joining. We are live normally Thursdays to Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern, doing live political debates, political discussions, and fact checks. Obviously, this week has been a little bit different. We are going to be off on Thursday. I'm going to be spending time with my girlfriend. So I decided to go live yesterday instead. Today was a surprise, even to me. But yeah, make sure to drop a follow. And we are going to be rating someone we've never rated before. This is Nico, aka Stalking the Capitol. I'm gonna put his @ right here. Oh, I tried to and it didn't work. I will see y'all over there for a little bit. And I hope everybody has a great night. Oh, Twitch, I love you guys. Have a good night. YouTube, I love you guys.